I am the Director of Taught Programs at CCLS, and then I'm also the LLM Director. And then I teach and lecture on international commercial law and advocacy on both the LLM and the LLB in the law department.
Okay, thank you. And how did you first hear about peer review?
There was an email, I think, that was sent out, and this was something that I had noticed across time, that a lot of students were using their own either MP3 devices or something to record the lectures anyway. So I decided, instead of having kind of a litany of recording devices sat all around me, I decided that I would record it myself. And so I responded to an email call for people who are interested in using this software.
That's kind of leading into my next question, which was, what did you record? Was it a live lecture? Was it just pre-recorded lectures? Was it audio, video, screen?
First I recorded lectures, video, audio, and then it captures also the slides and stuff that you display. But because I have to use my laptop, the software that's on your laptop, it's not dedicated in the particular lecture theater that I lecture in. That was draining the battery power in the computer, so I stopped recording the video and then just switched to just audio, and it also captures the slides as you're lecturing.
Okay, so how did you go about getting the personal capture onto your machine?
The e-learning people downloaded it.
Okay.
I mean, it's ridiculously easy. It's an icon on your desktop, and they downloaded it. I think they had to add a little bit of memory to my laptop, so that it went quicker. Yeah, I brought in my laptop, and they installed it, and the following Monday I was recording lectures. Absolutely.
Okay, so did you then take your laptop and record at home, at work, at your desk?
No, actually, I capture my lectures live.
Oh,
and then the students can reserve those. So I take it to the classroom and plug it into the local facility that then broadcasts the slides behind me, and it captures on the laptop, because I have a webcam on the laptop. It captures the audio, and it will capture the video, although I did stop doing that on the laptop.
And how did you prepare to use the system? You mentioned earlier that it was really easy to use, but did you need any training?
No, it can't be any easier. You literally click the icon and it pops up and says start recording, and then it counts down. It does like this countdown 5, 4, and it starts capturing, and it actually disappears right away. So it's there, and it tells you it started, and then you can't, or I've never wanted to watch it while I'm doing it. So it just disappears, and then at the end you re-click on the icon in the bottom and tell it to stop. That's it.
Easy as that.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long were your lectures that you recorded?
Most of them are about an hour and 45, maybe an hour and 50 minutes.
And do you do any edits to it after the recording?
No, I've done an edit one time because the power ran out, and so it stayed on. So I had to edit, so it wasn't like 6 hours long in the end. But other than that, I've never edited. It's just a live recording of what I've said in class.
So when you went about editing it, can you tell me a little bit about that? How did you edit the recording, in case other people are interested in editing?
There's an edit function, and it just allows you to, kind of cut and paste. It's a cut and paste, and so I just went and took all the stuff that it was recording that it thought the system was still on, and I hadn't meant to leave it on, and you just cut and paste the actual lecture that you want, and that's it.
And that's it.
It's ridiculously easy.
So if you wanted to do any edits in the future, you feel that you would be comfortable enough to do them yourself?
Yeah, I'd probably play around with it a bit. I mean, that's how I first figured out the software was, you try it one day at your desk or whatever. So I would play around with it, because you wouldn't want to erase a lecture. But it's really ridiculously easy. Yeah.
Okay, so how did you then make this recording available for your students to be able to listen back to it?
You get an email. When it's done, it asks you to upload onto the local server at Queen Mary. So you do that, and then once it's fully captured, you get an email, and you have several choices, and all I did was cut and paste the link out of the email onto the Blackboard website, which then allows the students to listen to it. So you don't really host it locally. Your computer doesn't use the memory like that. It saves it on the local server, the Queen Mary server, so you just provide the link to the students. And so I have a page that says, lesson 1, here's the link, lesson 2, here's the podcast, here's the, and they just click on it and listen to it.
And did your students need any they have any difficulties viewing your lectures or
No.
listening?
No, and I know they're doing it, but there's never been a problem. I know they're doing it because I no longer have any tape recorders in the front of the room. And they've actually given me feedback as well in a couple of the tutorials, so they really have used it.
That's
But
my next question.
but there's never been an issue with them having difficulties with it or anything. It's just like logging into Blackboard. You click on the link and it asks you just, yeah, it's easy. It's easy for them as well.
And can you tell me what kind of feedback have you received from your students? What have they said about it?
Well, more than anything, because we're post-grad and, that means that we get a very wide base of international students. At times, it's really helpful for them to go back and listen to the lectures again, because English, they're learning law in English oftentimes for the first time, especially at the pace that someone who speaks natural English speaks. So it's allowed me to be more comfortable and not have to, spend extra time being sure that everyone's with me, because I know they can go back and re-listen to it. And ask questions, and most of the students, I haven't had anyone report that they didn't like it, and most of the students have told me that they have listened to at least one of the lectures at some time to go back and find a case name or a point that I raised. And no one complained, because at the beginning of the class, you kind of announce that you're going to do this, but there's no video capture on them, and no one complained about that either.
Okay. So how many of these have you done?
Every week. Since the beginning of the year, so this is, I guess, 20 now, 19 or 20 now.
Okay, this isn't a question on here, but it's a question that I guess a lot. Has it affected your class attendance?
Absolutely not. I think we were all a bit hesitant. My class has over 100 students, so it's easy to imagine that, we've all seen TV shows where the one person turns on everybody's tape recorders.
Yes.
But actually my attendance has still remained very stable throughout the year. The one thing you will hear is that students are glad it's there because if they are sick, then they don't feel like they've missed the lecture. But most of the students know that attending something live allows you to ask questions and be engaged, and then you use the video, you use the capture service to review. And most of the students have taken that on board. And I do take attendance, and the attendance is still very, very high all the time.
Very helpful, actually. Have you recorded lectures in the past before Q review? Have you done any kind of recording?
No.
So Q review was
Q review's the first,
just
yeah.
decided to give it a go when you got the email about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was really a lot of tape recorders up front.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's kind of unnerving because you can't move and you can't sit. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on the lecture. So, yeah, when I got the opportunity, I thought, well, this is crazy. Why should every student go out and buy an MP3 recorder? This is silly. We can do this.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it seemed almost obvious to me.
Well, the next question seems a bit obvious, but would you recommend Q review to other members of staff?
Absolutely. I think I would hesitate if it was there was quite possibly a demand for student interaction, because I do appreciate that might come across kind of strange if you're not capturing everything. But as far as a traditional lecture or that delivering information in that mechanism, it's worked wonderfully. I'm not sure I would record my tutorials and stuff, because it might be hard to capture what's really being explained.
Okay. So just to give a little background then, you have lectures
Mm-hmm.
with about 100 students, and then you follow up with tutorials where they can
That's
come
right.
and engage more with you. So
That's
what
right.
you're capturing is the live distribution of content.
That's right.
So to speak. Okay.
That's right.
And what tips would you share for other teaching staff who may be a little bit hesitant about using this tool, or who want to give it a try but they don't really know how to go about it? What kind of tips would you give?
I think personally I was nervous that I would show up on YouTube, which hasn't happened. And I was nervous that the students would, joke about the actual video, which also hasn't happened. I mean, there's those type of things that really, any of those fears really haven't happened, and I certainly have a big audience that it could have. So I guess my tips are to really think about if you're going to do a video capture, really think about it. Because I ended up abandoning the video capture because it was draining battery on the laptop to a greater extent. So I was running out of battery life during the lecture. But the other thing was you begin to realize how energetic of lecturer you are. And it is kind of strange to see yourself kind of flash in front of the camera at various times. So if you're inclined to scribble on the board behind you and stuff, which is what I do, it turned out that the video was a bit strange to watch because you kind of fly in front of the camera for a second. But the audio is still very, very useful, as is the fact that you can capture the slides that you're actually broadcasting as well. The other thing I think I would do is, if I was to do it over for the first time, I would probably have practiced a bit more. Because now I don't even remember it's on, but at first, you can tell in those first couple of lectures that I'm kind of nervous that the audio is being recorded as well.
Even though they used to record you on there.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, because now you have access to it, and so now you can hear it. And there are times that you think, oh, I wish I had explained that better, or because I really listened to the first ones. But that's an incredibly useful tool as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, for your own evaluation and reflection, you have it for yourself.
Absolutely, and I definitely listen to it. Now I don't so much because I've kind of gotten accustomed to it. But at first, I really did listen to it, and I really did think about was that too fast, or all of it, which is all really important to our students. So it did make a difference that way. But if I had it to do again, I would have practiced a little bit ahead of time, because you could tell that I was trying to stay in front of the camera, and I was trying to almost speak toward the laptop, which you actually don't need to do.
It's not natural.
No, it came across kind of weird, and it made my class not like me, which tends to be drawing around and drawing things and stuff. So once I got to the point where I just decided no video capture, I didn't feel so focused, and there's I actually do still walk around, and you can still hear the audio the whole time. Yes. So, and it's a basic laptop microphone and basic laptop webcam, and they both work really, really well on I think I have a Hewlett-Packard, or I have a Toshiba. So absolutely great system and stuff. So that would be my advice. The other thing that we've thought about doing now for a while is, and I know some of my colleagues do this, is to record kind of intros to the class, so that you give some of the basic information that you really don't want to cover in the class, some of the background, and also maybe case names and stuff that you want to use in the class but you don't want to go through. And I think in the future I would do that. Yeah, you would pre-record that, and that would allow you to start the lecture in theory at a little more advanced level, which I think I would do in the future. That would be my goal. But all that can be done on your own laptop. You don't have to. I could do that at home on a Saturday afternoon if I wanted to pre-record things.
On the personal capture software.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.